Thank you for joining me in a multi-part series focused on the slave Bible. This, in fact, is part 2. And yes, you heard me correctly. There was such a thing called the slave Bible. For those who have not seen part yet, for those of you who have not seen part 1 as yet, this is just a recap of what the Bible is called and looks like. Its actual title is Select Parts of the Holy Bible for the Use of the Negro Slaves of the British West India Islands. The British West India Islands would have been specifically Jamaica. It was affectionately known as the Negro Bible, also the Slave Bible. On the plantation, it would have been affectionately known as the Good Book. Go and look at part 1 to get caught up in terms of why it was called the Good Book. Just a little bit of information quickly about the Negro Bible. There are, by the way, 3 original copies still in existence. It's 2021, and there are in fact 3 known copies still available that you can see in the world. Fisk University, which is a university in the United States, has one of the 3 copies, and the other 2 are in the United Kingdom. The original Slave Bible was published by Law and Gilbert Publishing House in London in 1807. It was published on behalf of the Society for the Conservation of Negro Slaves, and it was published specifically to educate enslaved Africans and preserve the system of slavery. A little bit more about that Slave Bible. 90% of the Old Testament is missing. So out of the 39 books in the Old Testament, or what you now know as the Old Covenant, there are only 5 of those books in the Slave Bible. Out of the 27 books in the New Testament, New Covenant, in the Slave Bible, there are only 23 and a half. And out of the 189 chapters that are in the Protestant Bible, which is where our King James Bible comes from, yes, they took the verses and chapters out of this and dwindled it down to, out of the 1,189 chapters, only 232 chapters were actually in the Slave Bible. So that is a little bit about that, and I strongly advise you, please go and Google Slave Bible. And while you are doing that, please also remember 2 Timothy 2:15. It's vital to be able to rightly divide the word of truth. Let's move on. I'd like to ask you a question. Who told you that the correct Sabbath day was Sunday? Fact. In 1619, after the first Africans were turned into enslaved people, it was their white owners that forced the slaves to attend church on Sundays. Why did they attend church on Sundays? Because that's when their owners, their masters, went to church. Simple as that. Here's another question. Who told you that Christianity is the true religion? Why isn't being a Muslim or a Hindu the correct religion? As a slave, you became whatever religion your owner, massa was. Protestant Christianity was the dominant religion, particularly during the 246 years of legalized slavery. Slaves had no choice, no option, no opinion. Here is another question. Where does your name originate from? Fact. All Africans that were enslaved, irrespective of which country they were forced to serve in, were renamed. Let me repeat that. All Africans that were enslaved, irrespective of which country they were forced to serve in, were renamed with biblical or white European names. And my last question for you: did you of your own free will choose to become a Christian? I know exactly what my answer is to that. The forcing of the acceptance, I repeat, the forcing of the acceptance of Christianity to our ancestors as created within the black community, the tradition that you are raised, exposed to the doctrine of the black church, and that the expectation is that in time one would freely accept or believe the biblical teachings and would eventually become saved. Which takes me back to the tool that the slave owners used as extensively as any of the other persuasive tools that they had, the preacher. I know I just lost some of you right there, but let's keep going, and I hope you'll join me in the next part of this very interesting, or what I hope you're finding interesting, inspiring, and hopefully instrumental. See you in the next video.